Hello everybody, Daniel Gaines here. Court's done. Don't know what's gonna happen. Dorsette said next week he'll have his ruling issued. Funny part is the lawsuit will be filed against him before his ruling gets issued. Dumbass accused me of threatening the court because I threatened to sue. He didn't have shit to say whenever I told him, as a judge, you should know it is not a threat and can't be deemed a threat. But abuse of discretion, abuse of authority, First, Fourth, Fifth, and 14th Amendment violations are what he's going to be sued for. He intentionally ignored state rules, played dumb about knowing what the state rules said, straight up said he wasn't going to allow me to use the state rules, because he even at one point I was attacking the fraudulent order, the original, and he said, I'm not going to let you launch a collateral attack. So I told him, pursuant to Rule 74.06, Missouri Rules of Civil Procedure, a void order can be attacked directly or collaterally anytime, any place, so long as you're proper before the court. He basically said he didn't care. I don't have video, unfortunately. Something's up with the body cam. So I got to send that in to get that repaired. I do have all the videos that were on it though. But don't worry, I have the recording of it. So when they alter theirs, mine won't be. And like I said, the lawsuit against Dorsette's dumbass will be filed before he even has an opportunity to get his decision made. That'll be filed Monday. Guaranteed a lawsuit will be filed Monday. I'll have it typed up this weekend because I got to respond to the federal documents. The federal removal filed by the dumbass Attorney General's office, where they jumped the gun. So there's that. And then the best part is, on the way home, had an officer pull me over, accuse me of speeding. Ironically, the deputy was also seen at the courthouse shaking hands and having a whispered conversation with Scott, and then he walked over and shook Montgomery's hand and then went back and said something else to Scott. I'm going to pull that video for court for the speeding ticket. He claimed I was doing 85 first, then said he had me at 84, then said he wrote me for 80, claimed I passed him, which my dash cam will prove I didn't pass any fucking body, except for right whenever I got on to M from 21, and that was a pickup truck, not an SUV. Basically, this clown followed me from the courthouse, and I'm going to pull his GPS information from his police cruiser to show that he followed me from the courthouse just for the purpose of pulling me over to issue some kind of fucking bullshit citation. Why? Because you don't call them out and expose their corruption without them trying to retaliate. And I'm very much aware of this. So, it's going to get fun. Like I said, they can't scare me, they can't intimidate me, and they won't make me fucking back down. There ain't nothing they can fucking do to make me back down. Short of killing me, they can't make me back down. And even then, they're fucked. So, Anthony Dorsette, congratulations. You are now going to be defendant Dorsette. And, just for the record, since you were a judge in Jefferson County for that hearing, the lawsuit will be filed in Jefferson County. The Jefferson County clerk, not the court clerk, but the county clerk, she will be the one it's served to. And then you and Stacy can go to the Supreme Court and explain to them why another judge has to be brought in to deal with the civil suit, and why you're a party to, why you're a named defendant in it. And yeah, good luck. See, the thing of it is Dorsette probably too stupid to understand or realize that it was recorded, even though I did it right out in the open, right in front of them all. But when he gets to filing and learns that the entire thing was recorded and he's not going to be able to alter his court record, he's going to get a bit nervous. And for the record, like I said, I don't care about the outcomes. I already know when it's judges and public servants, the court's naturally inclined to dismiss everything to let them get away with their corruption. Because the courts don't want to deal with their corruption because, well, then it opens the door for a lot more corruption to be exposed. Courts are worse as far as the corruption goes than any police department or anything else anyway. Courts are the most corrupt. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and every fucking judge in this country is guilty of that. At least I've never met one in my more than 20-year history dealing with courts that wasn't corrupt and that actually honored their oath of office. So, now, it comes down to not caring about the outcome. See, what I mean by that is, I don't care if they throw it out or if they rule in my favor. I don't care about none of that. That's not my goal. Like I said, I'll settle every one of these civil suits that I'm filing for $1. Damages, of course, punitive and compensatory, are a part of that, but the civil side of it, I'll settle for $1. So long as it comes with an admission of guilt in detail, admitting to everything they did, and there's accountability for these fucking people. If that's the case, then so be it. I'll settle it for $1. Otherwise, nah, I'm just going to keep filing suits, because the way it's going to work is, eventually, they're going to keep kicking it to state or federal courts, whichever one they send it to. Like the attorney generals will keep going to the federal courts with it. State courts will keep seeing about it and everything else. And eventually what's going to happen is, these courts are going to get tired of seeing my name. They're not going to be able to label me a vexatious litigant, because I'm providing proof of everything I allege. So the only way they can accuse me of anything is if they directly and intentionally ignore direct evidence. And seeing as they have to take my filings as true when I'm the one filing, they have to view the evidence. And the evidence shows that everything I'm saying is factual and correct. And as such, eventually, they're not going to have a choice but to have investigators start checking into things. And that's what I'm after. See, I don't give a fuck about none of this petty shit. I don't have to comply with bullshit court orders. And in fact, I pledge right now, on everything I love, that if the judge grants this protective order, I will violate it for the explicit purpose of making it a criminal case. Why? Because then Dorsette's taking the stand, everybody else is taking the stand, and then I get to question them about every fucking thing. And they all know they're fucked in that instant. Prosecutors, judges, cops, other public servants, they're all fucked. Because everybody will be subpoenaed. Every fucking one of them. So, that being the case, nothing unexpected. Like I said, if they wouldn't have filed the federal removal, I would have had 3 different copies of the lawsuit, amended petition, anyway, to include Dorsette, and it would have been filed right there on the spot today. However, because they removed it to federal court, I decided not to. I'm going to go ahead and just file a separate suit against Dorsette, and only Dorsette, in the state courts. Because, well, it costs $95 to file it versus the $405 it costs to file in the federal courts. So that's what I'm going to do. If the Attorney General's office wants to remove this too, it's on them. Just be stupid to do so, especially when I'm telling you what I'm going to do. See, I'm done complying with these bullshit court orders in their entirety. Fuck them if they can't take a joke, right? And as far as Rachel Montgomery goes, that bitch got up there and lied again today. Well, okay, I can't say she lied, so let me correct that. She didn't necessarily lie today. She did falsify her second filing as well, but today she got up there and said all kinds of shit that wasn't even in her filing at all. So again, they're allowing her to say things that aren't even in her fucking filing, and they're not allowed to do that. But yet this judge claimed he wasn't playing games when I called him on it. Oh, Dorsette, you dumb fucking idiots. You really are retarded, ain't you, bud? You probably should have watched my videos before the hearing to know that you were already fucking on notice. You were already in the crosshairs, figuratively only speaking. I already have your judicial record, Dorsette. I already made that public knowledge that I have it. And I'm going to expose your whole fucking judicial record to the public too. Watch. All of their records that I have are going to the public. Officers, jackets, and all. And you know what? Fuck it, I'm not redacting anything. Just because. Let them come at me. It's what I want. The easiest way to ensure I get to deal with things is if it's in the criminal courts. Sadly. I'd rather not subject myself to that, but since that's what they want, I'll play this game. Like I said, I can handle jail. I'm built for it. I know enough about the law. I'd be a jailhouse lawyer. Aside from that, I can take care of myself. In a fight, that is. Am I the baddest man on the planet? No, far from it. But I got a hard head. I don't care about pain. Very high pain tolerance. And I hit like a fucking tank. And that's with the left or the right. And folks don't know which one to watch for. Because I do everything right-handed. Weird, huh? So, if I have to spend any time in jail, I'm fine with that. It'll be dealt with in the courts, like I said. Only, they got to keep in mind, every time they come after me criminally, they're risking a 14th Amendment violation unless they hold these other fucking public servants. And well, I say other public servants. Other people, they just happen to be public servants. I'm not. But they can't come after me criminally without holding them to the same standard. Otherwise, it's a blatant and intentional 14th Amendment violation. And if you're unfamiliar with the 14th Amendment because it starts off talking about due process, read it a little more thoroughly. You'll find that it's not just due process. It's also the Equal Protection Clause. I cited several pieces of case law in court today the judge had no fucking clue about. Granted, one of them was from 1887, but it's been a standing precedent for well over 100 years. You think maybe a judge should know the more than 100-year-old precedent? Especially if it relates to fraud? And how fraud vitiates everything? You figure that might be a piece of important case law for a judge to be aware of. But even was stupid enough to state on the record, I'm reading through this case. I want to finish reading all of it. I told him, you should. It's an interesting case. I also told him I can give him about 6,000 more that specifically relate to the issues I raised today that he ignored. However, the other one is from the 1950s. And it's also still long-standing precedent. So again, he's got no excuse for not knowing that either. These people are stupid. Even one point accused me of, because I said I was going to sue him then, I was accused of making a threat. So after a recess that I needed, because trauma and PTSD are a thing, but after a recess I came back in and I had to get a couple things on the record. One of them was, as a judge, you should be well aware of the fact that threatening a lawsuit is not a threat and cannot be deemed a threat, which you did. He didn't have shit to say on that. But then he also accused me of using case law that was beneficial to me. Huh? Isn't that what everybody who uses case law does, even judges and attorneys? The case law they pick is what's beneficial to what they want? However, I clarified that too. To which, whenever I said that, accusing me of using case law that benefits me when that's how it's supposed to be used, he said, I didn't accuse you. I didn't say case law. I said rules. No, you said case law too, bud. But then I said, the problem with the case law I cited is you'll find that it's still very much valid and it's still very much standing precedent. So, that being the case, he didn't have much to say there either. However, he did have a lot to say as far as he doesn't give a fuck about state rules. He didn't say it outright like that, but he did say it numerous times that he didn't care what the rule said. Not, again, not in those words, but telling me, I'm not going to allow you to bring up a void order, or an order that you're saying is void because of fraud. You didn't file an appeal, so therefore you can't challenge it, blah, 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 because of time restrictions, whenever the rule straight says there is no time restraint or restrictions. And then at another point he said, I'm not going to let you collaterally attack that order, when the rule literally says you can collaterally attack it. There's a few different metrics when it comes to orders or judgments that are void. Fraud, whether it's intrinsic or extrinsic. New information that could not be obtained at the time of the trial. Orders that are void, and they can be made void for numerous reasons. There's actually a shit ton of case law related to void orders. If you need some, I could probably provide you with, I don't know, 5,000 to 6,000 pieces of case law. Not all from the Supreme Court, mind you, but a lot of it is from the federal courts, and then there's a lot of it from the state courts as well. However, I can provide you with case law specific to the state courts in your district, federal district, which some of these, a lot of them went to the federal courts and then were kicked back to the state. So they'd still apply even in a separate state. The judge would at least have to give them consideration. Now, because it's from a different state, the judge doesn't have to adopt it as true, but the ones that went before the federal courts and the federal courts agreed with the state courts, they can't get around that. Because if it went to the same federal court again, they'd rule the same way again, most likely. So that's how it's better applied. But they do have to give credence to other states' rulings. Now, they don't have to comply with another state's rulings, but they do have to take it under consideration when coming to a determination on things. As for Montgomery, yeah, conveniently, she was unable to provide any evidence other than claims. Deputy Scott conveniently forgot everything, including what was in his own reports. He didn't, he was just fucking lying. And he did actually engage in perjury 3 different times. And don't worry, when this goes to the criminal courts, whether it be for the trespass or, if I have to, the protective order, whenever it goes to court, then I'm going to expose it. And then I'm going to expose the audio recording where I've already given him the chance to correct the record and he refused to do so. As such, he's fucked. But again, they all are. Like I said, the name of the game is, in the end, Daniel wins. And what I care about is accountability. Nothing else. Purely accountability. And forcing federal investigations, or even state ones, will do that. And when I say that all the information I have is going to inspector generals, the FBI, the DOJ, state legislature, the U.S. House and Senate, I mean, it's going to everybody I can get it to. It'll be in the local and national media. I've already got contacts who are willing to look through things to see if there's a story they can run. Again, that's not guaranteed. There's a lot of politics involved in media, but they're going to look into it. Let's see. I'm even going to push to get before a grand jury. And that is when things really get fun. Because then I get to present all my evidence. And it's up to the grand jury if they want to bring charges against these people. And some of it's so extreme and severe, they really ain't going to have a choice. So, I'll also cite the treason statute against Dorsette, because there is case law, still very much standing precedent, that if a judge wars against the Constitution, he or she is engaged in an act or acts of treason. And when you deny somebody's First Amendment right and their 14th Amendment due process rights, you're warring against the Constitution, at least according to the Supreme Court. Again, keep in mind, it's not me saying this. It's courts. And y'all can look up these court cases. Whether I say a name or not, what case it is or not, you can look it up. For example, look up, did the U.S. Supreme Court rule that a judge who wars against the Constitution is engaged in acts or an act or acts of treason? I guarantee you won't have to search long, and you'll either see Cornell, whichever it is, law school, or just via Justia, whichever it is, law. Click on either one of those and look at that case. Chances are it'll be the right one. And those are two insanely credible resources for legal knowledge. Now, the Cornell or Cordell or whatever it is, that's actually a law school. So when you pull up anything from there, it's Cornell or Cordell, whatever it is, .law.edu. It's not a .com. It's an edu. So, fact check things. I'll wait. Peace.